In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff of K98 Talk.
She always talks when we do this. She can't. She ruins the show from the start. You want to start over? No, it's fine. Just keep playing. After 3 years and over 300,000 downloads, we were forced to give up our show. Anne and Frank are not our real names, but these are our real experiences and honest opinions. The victim mafia has become a powerful beast. They have become the victimizers and are forcing their dysfunctions on us all. When we stood up to them, they looked up our home addresses. They called our employers. They threatened our very livelihoods until we were quiet. But instead of letting them win, we decided to continue the fight. As Anne and Frank, live from Ned's attic. Hello everyone, welcome to the latest installment of the Anne and Frank Show. I am your host, Frank Dufresne. We're just not feeling it today, are we guys? Let's be honest.
Well, I'm tired. I just got back from camping with 3 kids, so
I want to hear, I was surprised that when you called in, I wasn't expecting to be on the show today, and then your number popped up and you were here, so I'm very happy you're here, Anne. Welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here.
I have you for as long as I have you, right? It could end at any moment.
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as a child needs me.
Well, let's be in the moment while we can. I miss you. It's nice to talk to you.
Well, thank you. I miss you guys, too. I hate not coming in, but it'll be back soon. Don't you worry.
Are you going to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kids are in school.
You never gave me a definitive. You were like, oh, I don't know. I hate you. I hate your life.
You have to remind yourself to constantly validate and make sure Jake understands everything you're doing.
Who?
Whatever your name is, Frank.
Well, I wanted to say hi and do a little intro about Cecil Lion, but I gotta have a word with my my friend Ned, who's super cunty this morning. Just walked in like a big gray cloud of cuntiness. You want to talk about it? Are you okay?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude or anything.
What's the matter with you?
I just haven't slept.
Why didn't you sleep?
Because I think I ate too much Chinese food yesterday.
Did you have the shits and stuff?
Yeah, I had Mongolian beef and vegetable fried rice.
You should never eat Mongolian food,
I know, but
they are so disgusting how they cook it. They put raw meat in with cooked meat and then take it. It's wrong.
Yeah, I threw it away after I ate a lot of it.
Well, I'm sorry you don't feel well, but just to catch up, we have my shrink Katie calling in. I think she might have been on the line. And Ned and I were talking earlier in the week about, we love this show, even though I'm doing it from a fucking 100-degree room that smells like cat piss. Well, there's no part of me that can feel that this is
at all a success. Not even a reasonable success. I smell cat piss when I'm doing this, and it's hot. Like
you mentioned it 12 times. So
yeah,
far.
but I'm just saying, like, it's one of those moments where you realize you're not, like, there's nothing you can hang your hat on when you do this show. When you do podcasting, you do it for the love of it. And sometimes you think, hey, maybe people are listening and go somewhere, and then you find yourself in a 100-degree room that smells like cat urine, and you realize I'm like a fat hoarding housewife, like talks into a microphone that smells like cat piss. It's just a little depressing. But anyway, because I'm depressed, I invited my shrink. White privilege. I invited my shrink on, and we were going to have one-on-one, which we are. But Ned, you specifically seem like you might want to have the first talk with Dr. Katie because you seem
about what?
Because you're just really cunty.
Because I didn't sleep.
Yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, the thing is,
That's a very good excuse.
Yeah,
but it's good preparation because you're not going to sleep soon at all.
Oh no, Ned, Frank, having a baby's not going to change my life at all. And then he gets like one night with no sleep because of Chinese food, and he's a fucking serial killer when he walks in here. He's not going to sleep for a year. This is the shit I'm talking about when I tell him, like, I don't think you're prepared.
Right,
and he gets all mad.
Because you could obviously be 100% prepared before having a child.
I'm just saying, look at the shape you're in off one night, no sleep. You're not going to get sleep for months.
I know.
This is going to be you all the time. This is going to be your general...
No, there you go again, being very dramatic and just assuming the worst of everything, so...
Here's what happened.
Are you two married?
If we were gay, we'd probably be pretty happily married, I think. We were talking about it yesterday with our wives. It's too bad. Yeah, it's too bad we're straight. But I told him earlier in the week, like, we should really just be really honest. Ned and I sat down and had this conversation. You weren't here, Ann, because you blew us off and you don't want to be our friends anymore. And so we're having drinks and talking, and we started talking about how, we hate everyone. And we're just having our general, like, old Jewish woman conversation.
You missed me.
Yeah, we did miss you. We needed our third. And I start telling Ned, like, I hate everyone, and that person over there is this. And I just start, like, completely being a prejudiced, judgmental asshole. And Ned, to his credit, calls me right out on it. He goes, you keep judging these people, talking about what assholes they are. You're the most judgmental person probably here. And I thought it was kind of a nice insight, even though I didn't like it at first, and I was initially very defensive about it, because I like to pride myself on not being defensive, right? But he's right. I sit there. I can't even go to a restaurant and without looking at people and talking about how much I hate them, and they're probably losers and wife beaters and whatnot. And right then I had this moment. Like, this is the kind of thing I think most people probably think about. They probably don't even pay attention to how they think or what they think. And I got this nice little moment, like this hotline to the greater powers of the universe. Like, this is what you should do, Frank. I mean, you do news and you do the show and everyone loves it, blah, blah, blah. The 7 people and cat piss and whatnot. But you have an opportunity to really be honest about how you feel. So Ned and I come to this agreement, Ann, like, we're going to go on the air and we're just going to talk about our emotional honesty. I get Katie, a shrink on. And then he walks in.
Ned was in on this with you?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So he walks in today, and I'm like, Ned, you ready to get honest? Like, the thumbs up, like, high five, pep talk. And he's like, fuck you, no. I don't fucking care. I don't care about this show. That's how he starts. Like, he walks in the room like that. Right? 30 seconds before we go on air. So I'm going to let you talk to Katie first. Maybe she can help you.
I think what I recall from that conversation was that since we were so judgmental thinking about other people, and like we were like really judgy.
We're horrible people, really.
Therefore, because that's like your sole thought process throughout the day, you're left to assume, holy fucking Christ, most people, are they like me? Do they think like me?
Yeah. That's a good question.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
I don't think they're as judgy as you are.
I don't know about that. Well, first let's bring our guest on, because she's the first time to this show. I believe this is Katie on is this Dr. Katie?
She wants to use her real name?
She has to. She's a doctor. Only we're lying. Katie can be herself.
Hi, guys.
Hey, long time no talk. How have you been?
Like forever.
I've been good. It's great to be back, although it smells like cat piss.
I know. Have I mentioned that at all yet? It's so bad, Katie. It's so bad.
It smells like cat piss and Mongolian.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Katie's...
Dad and Ned and Frank.
And Frank and Ned.
Nice to finally meet you, Katie. I've heard such great things about you.
We can drop the pretense. Katie's an old friend of all of ours, and she was on the old show, which shall be nameless, much like Voldemort. And this is her first time on this new show, but we know her. A lot of people don't know who Katie is. So, Katie, why don't you give your introduction again for the 10th time? Because we have 9 new listeners now.
New show or news show?
New, alias show.
Okay, it's not a news show.
Sometimes I think we do some good news here. But anyway, so
better than keeping up with the news.
Give me your we'll get into it, but give me your pedigree, so to speak, just so people know you're the real deal.
I'm a Taurus.
I know, because you're really
I think
stubborn.
that my moon is in Mercury retrograde right now. Is that right?
I don't. What? Don't even start
And
that.
I got my degree online. Jake and I met in a message board
That is true.
for the Broncos.
Come on, you're a real doctor. At least give me that.
I am. I am a neuropsychologist. I have a PhD in clinical psychology,
Okay.
which means I am qualified to handle your neuroses.
Okay, so
As qualified as anybody can be.
you could theoretically be my therapist if I were to pay you, and it would be legal.
Theoretically.
Yes.
And then I would need a therapist.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you, but I'm saying you
and
could.
Anne could be my therapist.
Anne should be nobody's therapist. Anne's not.
I would be a great therapist.
Well, the sociopathy helps. All right, let's get into it. So, old friend of the show, we're
Wait, I
excited
have to say congratulations to Ned. I didn't hear this. I didn't know this.
because he's not honest or personal in any way. She doesn't even know you're expecting a baby in a month.
Oh, well, thank you,
Yeah,
Katie.
what?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, why did you go and do that?
I know.
Why didn't
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, why did you do that? That's a good
Wonderful
question.
news.
Oh, is it?
Girl or boy?
Girl.
So not so wonderful news.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jake and Frank and I are already planning to, when she's 13.
Hold on, don't go, that's where you're going here.
What, we're going to have a bat mitzvah.
Oh, good. If
What are you talking about?
the pool party at 15, I thought you were going to go too.
No, we're going to have a bat mitzvah near a pool.
Of course. Well, we were just talking, because here's the thing. Ned was reasonably, understandably upset that his firstborn's unfortunately going to be a female. I mean, no guy takes that too well. That's like
Well, the
losing
learning
lottery.
curve is going to be a lot more steep.
Yeah.
In my case, because I grew up with a brother and 3 introverts in my immediate
No.
family, so now I got to open up and be emotionally honest with a female.
But you can't even do it on the show. So I don't know how
No,
you're gonna-
because, is it worth it?
It's always worth it. It's always fucking worth
Yeah,
it.
just-
you know.
yeah.
Girls are easier first. At least you can ramp up into it. But then it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Then it's like I liken it to that Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, where the guy just reaches into his chest and pulls out the beating heart. That's a girl.
That sounds right. I grew up with sisters.
That's
That's
piss on the floor
here's the thing. Okay, so
like they're cats.
let's get the first issue out of the way because I wanted to use your expertise, Katie, and we're going to get into stuff. But Ned, you tell me if this is inappropriate as a friend. So Ned tells me he's having a kid, right? And of course we have the usual like, congrats, this is so cool, and then I go in the other room like, what a fucking idiot, he's going to ruin his life. But whatever, I keep that private. So then I start talking to him about it, and I start feeling him out, and I'm thinking, I've been around a lot of children. My sisters are basically Mormons. They have like 15 kids between them. And I've changed diapers. I raised a young
How many do
brother.
you have now? Like a dozen?
Yeah, you do.
I have like a
Basically,
fourth of a
that's
dozen.
Everyone has babies. So I've picked up a few things. And I'm having lunch with Ned, and I tell him, I said, I'm a little concerned because your baby's 2 months out now. This was last month. And I said, I don't think you've adequately freaked out, in my opinion. And I'm just talking to Katie here, so don't speak, Ned. And then we go back to the office, and my coworker's there, and I think I'm going to have another brother in arm here. As I bring up my friend Vince, I say, I don't think Ned's freaking out. He's taking this a little too cool. It's causing me a little bit of worry because he's just being a little too, apathetic about it. And he should at least have
Dissociative.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think if you're going to have a kid,
And then apathetic.
yeah, you should have like a panic attack. So I bring the third guy in thinking this guy's going to team up with me and now Ned will understand what I'm saying because Ned thinks I'm crazy. And the friend takes Ned's side and they start trying to psychoanalyze me like, not everybody freaks out, Frank. Maybe that's just you. Maybe you're projecting yada, yada, yada. So my first question to you, Katie, Dr. Katie, don't you think it's psychologically worrisome that a man's about to have his first child and he doesn't at all want to just pack up his car and drive away or smother his wife with a pillow, not even for a second? Or am I unreasonable?
Smothering with a pillow is so problematic.
Right. Maybe I went too far.
Unreasonable. No. I mean, that wouldn't be the route I would take. I think that, and you have to remember, people freak out at different stages as well.
Right.
Sometimes prior to the arrival, it's very hypothetical in nature, and it's difficult. I had no panic attacks and probably should have until they're there. So it could still be coming. Let's not diagnose him as a...
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming.
And what Frank conveniently forgot to mention to you was that I did tell him I freaked out when I found out I was having a child, and I did tell him I freaked out when I found it sex, and it lasted probably 2.5 to 3 days. He doesn't mention that several months has already elapsed before he brought up the subject of me freaking out.
Yeah, that is true. You make
So
it
he
forgot
just
about
feels like you're not freaking out too.
He's freaking out
and
because I'm not emoting all the time and like wanting to, go to, Siberia. I don't know.
I just worry that...
But Ned, I would not characterize Ned in general as an emoter.
He's
So I'm curious, Frank, as to why you would think that this is such a life-altering event that your thought was maybe this would cause the non-emoting Ned to emote.
Maybe Frank's the one that's freaking out about it, and he's projecting it all on
That's what I'm
you.
saying. Everyone turns it on me like I'm a weirdo. I don't understand that. And like,
I didn't freak out.
Well, not freak. I'm sorry. Let me be emotionally honest.
I mean, Dr. Katie, people do freak out, but then after a while, if they freak out every day, like, what good does it really do? Why can't you just accept the reality, even though it's maybe unpleasant at times, and just deal with it as it comes? I mean, I can't 100% prepare for something like this at all. So, and I am going to freak out after it happens, but then you adapt to it and you move on.
As long as you freak out.
Of course I've freaked out.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to just freak out every single day and like...
You should.
Yeah,
you really
because
should.
that's really healthy, right.
It is
Second, Frank.
Yeah.
For just a second.
Yes.
It's sounding a little bit like you're feeling you need to manage Ned's emotions for some reason. So let's talk about that.
Okay. That's a very good point. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Your assessment, like everybody's kind of thrown out there is a hypothetical, a hypothesis, let's say, is that you are projecting. What does projecting mean?
That means I'm putting my feelings on somebody else, projecting them.
Interesting.
Correct.
So I would think Ned is not freaking out because I would think that I would freak out if the situation were similar. So I'm projecting my fears onto him.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
I know all the gobbledygook.
And in addition to that,
but do you know what it means?
I know what it means. I fucking use the term twice a day when I'm arguing with fucking gun grabbers and nut jobs. Sorry, go on.
No judgment with that. We all do it every day.
Of course. That's what friends are for.
There's a neurobiological, evolutionary
here she gets all nerdy here.
To do that.
Uh-huh.
No, seriously. We all have our own ways of viewing the world and perceiving the world and understanding from the very, minute sensory things that we're seeing with our eyes and ears to higher order feelings of, what does that mean more abstractly or making connections in that way. We all have our own unique way of perceiving our world. And so there's a usefulness to assuming that others are doing the same thing, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's understandable. There's no judgment there.
Right.
But then when we take it the next step, when we're psychologically advanced people and understanding that maybe that's what's happening to a degree.
I am super advanced. Yes,
the
go on.
The next step of the judgment or the discomfort for you that other people aren't seeing or experiencing the world as they should, or that even should is being thrown out there, that somebody should be feeling a certain thing. I'm interested in where that's coming from.
Okay. Is that your question? Where is that coming from? Okay. Well, let me tell you. Two things are very important to note. One, I'm super advanced as a person. On borderline, there's empathetic people, and then there's like star children. There's like, yeah. Then there's like people like me that are like what the people, the star children call an empath, which means I'm almost superhuman with my abilities to be empathetic. Okay, I just want to say I'm not like a normal person or some nurse or someone that watches those Sarah McLachlan dog commercials and feels sorry for the dog. It goes way past that. It's a superpower for me. So that's the first thing. So I can feel...
To be empathetic, to be able to feel what other people
Yes.
are feeling, to be able to experience what other people are experiencing.
Yes, I can tell you all three of you are feeling right now if I were to tune in like a psychic. So
what they actually are,
There's
what people
no
are
way.
actually feeling,
I can.
or what you think people
No,
should
I
be.
understand how people feel. That's
Or how they should
Superpowers.
feel.
What's that, Katie?
How they feel or how they should feel.
How they actually feel. Not
So
their bullshit.
in reality, what you are saying is Ned is freaking out and
Yes.
having a panic attack.
Yes. That's part one.
you're having that empathetic
Yes.
understanding that no other mortal has.
Yes, of course.
Degree to which no other mortal has, and so he should be more authentic and honest.
Yes.
With the fact that he's freaking out.
Exactly. Well stated.
That right?
That's right. Now, number
Okay.
2, I also forget the superhuman empath powers of feeling Ned. I'm also Ned's best friend, and I've known the guy now since what? I was 18, you were 17, so 20 years we've been friends?
16. 17.
We've been best friends for almost 2 decades. So I think it'd be fair to say my should, quote unquote, and what I think Ned should or should not be doing is based off not casual observation. I'm fully aware of how this person ticks. So not only do I know how he feels, I also know how he thinks. Okay? So now this is not just like someone on the street and I'm like, oh, you should do this. Like I'm not doing that. I know Ned inside and out. Then you factor in that he's having a child. Okay. So and a girl, which again, that's just so depressing because girls, you're not as cool.
Doubly traumatic.
Right. I mean, it's just like it's like getting a new
Being
car
re-traumatized
and
when you find out.
well, it's like winning a car and The Price is Right and it's got manual windows. You know what I mean? So there's that. Anne agrees. Anne's laughing. So let's go there. So then he's having a child, right? Forget the girl jokes. He's having a kid. So I know this guy. I know how he thinks. I know how he feels. And I know that he's about to have a life-changing event, right? Now I'm his friend. So at first, my first instinct was not to be like, holy shit, are you freaking out? My very first thing when he told me he was pregnant, or his wife was pregnant, was congratulations. I'm so excited for you. That was the conversation. Then a week passed, 2 weeks passed. So I start monitoring my friend. And I start using my superhuman empath powers. And I'm thinking, over time, now we're a month away, Katie. His due date is next month, okay? So she's 8 months pregnant. I had dinner with his wife. She's huge. Okay, it's not like she can hide it. She's a pregnant woman. It's coming. Thank you, Ned. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, there does not seem, in my observation, to be a connection with what is coming in this person's life who I know very well and care about very deeply. So then it goes to, I'm going to approach the conversation different with Ned now. Instead of going, oh, congrats, are you excited? It's like, dude, you understand that you're like not going to sleep, right? And you understand like you're going to be constantly terrified of the safety of this child, and it's going to be a kind of love you've never felt. You know what's coming. I start throwing things like that, and his response every time is, yeah, whatever. It's no big deal.
Well,
and that's
therefore
terrifying.
what? Like, therefore what?
You should freak out, dude.
Okay, yes.
I want you to freak out right now.
I think what Frank doesn't understand is that
because this is a guy that freaks out all the time. He freaks out all the time.
He might have grown up within a family who emote a lot of their feelings, a lot of what they're thinking. I mean, there's no filter with them.
He's getting
Whereas when I grew up in a family where I have to read someone's journal after they died to really get to know them. Or they're completely like, pretend that everything is fine and the same questions are asked every single time and it's a broken record, leave it to Beaver type situation.
You are best friends.
Right. So
I think that's interesting.
So the thing is,
what's interesting? Sorry, I was getting sad music queued up. Hold on. Wait, give me 1 second. I'm doing this on the iPhone.
So
okay.
I guess my point is, if Frank is an empath and he knows me really well, he probably knows that I suppress a lot of my feelings.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And therefore, I thank God for journal writing. And thank God for therapy. And, you just kind of... That's how I get in touch with my feelings. I don't like to burden other people with my feelings or my emotions. And I don't have a good relationship with my emotions at all, actually.
What do you mean burden?
I don't like to burden other people with my problems or with my... Can you turn off the music?
Yeah, sorry. I was really getting good there.
I don't really like to burden other people with my problems or, give them a brain dump of emotions that I might be feeling if I understand how I'm feeling.
So wait. So by you...
This is like marriage counseling.
Fuck you.
Between us.
Fuck you.
Fuck yourself. Fuck you.
If you tell somebody that you're happy or you're nervous or you're sad or you're just chill, that's a burden. What's a burden? What's burdenous about? What's burdensome about emoting?
I guess it's because I'm not used to doing it. I don't. I think when emotions were expressed in my family growing up, it was very, very rare, and they were very, very intense.
And people didn't know how to do it really well.
Right, and they were looked upon as weakness. Like if you had emotions, if you had feelings, they're weak. You're weak. And so that's kind of how over the years I've trying to become more emotionally intelligent, but at the same time I beat myself up for having these feelings and expressing them to other people, because whenever I've expressed them in my family, it's like trying to nail Jello to a tree. It's like you're never validated, nothing's reciprocated, and no one's saying, "Oh, I had that feeling before." Everyone's like, "Oh, well, I'm glad you're working on that. Bye." So.
Right, and so it was a burden. It makes sense that you experienced that as burdensome.
Right.
Because it was. The person you were unloading on or telling wasn't able to help you with that, didn't know what to do with that. So here's a question for you. Do you see Frank as weak because he emotes and he expresses his feelings?
That's a good question.
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because I think to me, it's courageous to have these feelings that he's able to express in somewhat of a humorous way. I think if he was actually my brother that I grew up with within the immediate family environment I grew up in, then I would probably look at him as weak. It's really weird. It's just because I think families are cults and you're like adapting to the system, and I think that's kind of
very honest. I'm impressed.
No matter how smart we
I'm trying to.
You don't have to try. You did it. It was great. Sorry, Katie.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. We all do that. Our families are, no matter how much we can rationalize as we get older, how we can cognitively put in place how dysfunctional relating is and communicating is, we become emotional infants when we're back in our family systems, when we think about things in the family context. It's very powerful. So that all makes sense, right? That you would, if expressing your feelings means it's burdensome to somebody, that's a great way to not have to feel weak. Just even labeling feelings as weak.
That's what was conveyed to me growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. And
very
that's
good
a hard
work.
one to get through. And so but how? So let me ask you this. Let me ask you, Frank. If Ned, I'm trying really hard with these names. That's why I'm scatterbrained right now.
It's not easy.
When's the last time that Ned's expressed something to you of even a semi-emotional nature?
I feel like we're seriously in marriage counseling right now. It's pretty funny. The last time you don't look to me the same anymore, Ned. I would say the last time he expressed emotion was probably when Tim Tebow ran for the game-winning touchdown against the Jets.
Yeah.
That was also the last time I had emotion
against the Jets.
Yeah, the Monday night game when we were sending hate tales back and forth. The Zero Blitz.
That's right.
Yeah, and we have those audio. We should play.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's the last time I had any feelings too.
Wow.
Tebow does that to you and me. Tebow brings us together. No, but honestly, it's very rare. One time he choked me when I scratched his car when we were in high school. That was an emotional outburst.
I don't understand why you can't. I mean,
I'm just saying. She's asking.
I know, but that was a joke. That wasn't.
The time he choked me and the Tebow game. Those are answers.
All right, that's a lot of work. So,
that's what you're dealing with right now, Katie.
What was it like for you, Frank?
When he choked me?
Ned was able to express his emotion. Let's forget how it was specifically manifested. Expression of emotion to you.
I'm always.
Were you overwhelmed?
No. I'm always very fond when people are emotionally honest with me. That's the one time I'm probably the least amount of uncomfortable in human interaction. When people can look me in the eye and they start talking about how they feel and all the gross gobbledygook and uncomfortable stuff, that's usually when I'm like, oh, I feel safe around this person. This is a human being.
It's authentic.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not bullshit. When it's all the other bullshit, I think, oh my God, this person's like fucking Ted Bundy. Like, this person I'm talking to is talking about the fucking promotion they're getting at their job, and I think he's going to wear me as a skin suit. They make me uncomfortable. That's how I think. So when I'm around someone who's like being honest and there's no fucking pretense or bullshit, it makes me feel very comfortable. Even if what they're saying at the time is, I want to, make a skin suit out of you, at least they're being emotionally honest. And I feel I've had people tell me horrifying things, not Ned, but other people, horrifying things that if I were a therapist, I would have probably been obligated to call the police. But I was like, yeah, this is nice. They're being honest. And for the record, I have no knowledge of a crime that took place. So, no, it made me feel very comfortable.
I don't want any even peripheral honest. Yeah. So, Ned, I will say to you, would you characterize yourself as...
douchebag.
How would you characterize yourself in terms of your ability to emote? You sort of did before, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Your capacity for emotional expression, which you think is very courageous and important.
Like emotion,
because of how you grew up.
Yeah, I mean, I could have a frank conversation with Frank about, being honest about things like external things, news, sports, whatever, the radio show. And give him advice on stuff that, as if I was his therapist. But, speaking about myself in the first person, it's really strange for me. I think for about 28 years, combined with the cult-like atmosphere of a system of beliefs with how to communicate within my immediate family, there was a combined effort to medicate me, too. So... It not only was environment affecting my relationship with myself, but also the chemical, mind-altering medications I put in my body for several years that were not my fault at all. Combined, the numbness with the environment. So it's pretty amazing, I have to say, that I'm able to articulate how I feel after what I've been through. I have an older brother who
he's a skin suit guy.
He can't even sit next to his own children on an airplane.
But he's wildly successful.
Yeah.
Which is, so on the surface everyone thinks, oh, this guy's got his shit together, and he's a mess.
Yeah, he's a mess. So go ahead.
Yes,
I just thought that was
I
interesting.
think it's extraordinary. You are on a radio show, and I don't know how many people are listening.
8 or 9.
But you are talking about your life, number one.
Right,
You're talking about difficult things in your life. You have chosen, maybe you didn't choose it first, but have maintained a close friendship, probably a best friendship, with someone who is very emotionally expressive, like on the other end of the spectrum,
Go on.
which somebody who was entirely incapable of emoting at all would not feel comfortable doing, would not be able to do, I would argue. So I would say, perhaps, to reframe or restructure how you're looking at your abilities to be able to do this. Understanding where you're coming from, understanding it's tough and probably tougher for you than other people, certainly for Jake. But you're not bad at it. You're doing an extraordinary job.
He is doing really well.
I see a therapist. I try to understand that aspect of myself, because every single day it's like, without being on meds and just having to live every day the best as I could, being like healthy mentally, it's very difficult. I mean, there's times where I have so much anxiety, I have a hard time even going and walking into a store where strangers are. Even though I don't externally show fear of them, I'm like terrified of being around other people. Like, I physically get like I feel like I'm a knot, and it's very burdensome on me. And there's some points where I'm like, God, if I just take a Xanax, or if I just drink a beer, or what have you, it's like, it sucks.
Just numb ourselves out.
Exactly. That's why I find it important that I try to write something about how I feel, because, it's sort of like a mirror of your mind when you write your thoughts down on the paper and you try to get in touch with the hell am I thinking about.
Or a podcast. For the record.
It's vulnerable. And I'm going to tell you both. I think one of the most important concepts in all psychological talk is vulnerability. And vulnerability, what is the first word you think of automatic association, Ned, when you hear vulnerability?
Weakness.
Yes. What about you,
But-
Frank?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get all esoteric here, so I probably shouldn't answer that because it's not weakness.
It's not weakness,
And
but that's
vulnerability.
That's my immediate
I
response.
think my first thought was pussy, even though I don't think it. You know what I mean? Like,
My first
it really
thought.
was. I was like, pussy.
See, no, that's honest.
We all have to
Vulnerable, I
grow
think,
up
is
as
a
family.
strength.
Vulnerable to me is
Yeah,
brave.
but
I think brave.
yeah, but we have those sort of reflexive responses that, oh my God, it is weak, because culturally that's certainly what's taught to us, and many of our families that's what's taught. But yeah, we know sort of non-emotionally that it is one of the most courageous things. Even Ned spoke about being vulnerable, and the ability to be vulnerable is being courageous. But we have this just stigma of it being weak.
Right. Which is so
But
weird.
Because I think it's looked
I mean, I
upon
think-
as like you're bitching. Like, just get to work, make as much money as you possibly can, and stop bitching. Everyone has a hard life. Wham, wham, wham.
And that's why everyone's on drugs. That's for that right there.
Quit your bitching, tie your shoes, and get to work.
You don't deserve water.
Yeah, exactly.
No, let me interject for a second. I do think vulnerability is one of the most courageous and brave acts you can do. And the reason I said it was going to get esoteric and annoying is there was this a phrase I heard once from somebody that I think is one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard, which is, to become vulnerable, you lose all vulnerability. And it's a very heady, esoteric statement, but it's stuck with me for a long time. And the more and more I think about it, it's like, if you really think about viewing vulnerability as pussy or weakness, you're going to be so terrified of it that you're constantly running from it. Therefore, you're a pussy. If you go, I'm just going to be vulnerable, you know, what are they can't take anything from me. I'm not my head, I'm not my body. You instantly become completely courageous and brave in life. And it's scary. It's terrifying, but it is the proper move. And what else? I'm awesome.
Terrifying, because that's the only way we can really connect with each other, right?
Yes.
And in my opinion, connection is really what gives purpose and meaning in our lives.
Me
It's
too.
what it's all about.
Yes.
To feel connected. And we have evidence from that from a neurobiological level I won't get into, but it's connection. And so what is vulnerability? It's the fear of connecting. It's the fear that if people really knew us, like those people who are telling you they want to make skin suits,
Yeah.
if they really knew who we are, they really see who we are, we won't be worthy of that connection.
Right.
So to feel vulnerable is excruciatingly uncomfortable a lot of the time, and it all comes down to our sense of worthiness, our sense of, just thinking we deserve to be loved, that we're enough. And so we numb it. We numb those feelings of being vulnerable with food, with alcohol, with being obese, with things of pushing away any kind of connection to people. We numb it. But the problem is we cannot selectively numb those feelings of feeling sad or angry, or those uncomfortable feelings, or those feelings that we don't love about ourselves, because you can't selectively numb emotions. So you're numbing joy and happiness and meaning and creativity and
Three
all of
ways.
those positive
2 chicks
emotions
same
that life
time.
are about.
Right. I mean, that's how you got to put it.
Out of the three-way.
How are you going to pull off a three-way if you're not connecting?
No.
I have this thing, because I'm Mr. like, oh, I'm so vulnerable. But the truth is, the more vulnerable I attempt to make myself, the more I do find that there is some truth to the fact that if people do see how vulnerable you are, or weak, or anxiety ridden, that they will not like you. And I can tell you that has happened to me repeatedly. So I should have a much healthier fear of this than I do, because every time, 10 out of 10, it's like, dude, who are you? You're a snoveling pussy, this guy. I don't even know this guy. Happens to me all the time.
People who can't connect to you for some reason. Like, turn it around. Again, you say you love it when people are able to tell you.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could handle myself.
When they're very authentic.
Yes.
Right. But why do you care about people who aren't able to handle those things about you? Why do you? That's what we do. We want to please. We want to win over. We want
That's true.
people in the world who are very least able or capable of liking us for who we are to like us.
Yeah.
Because then somehow it will be worthwhile.
God, that would be nice. That would make me so happy.
But we have to keep reminding ourselves, why do we care about those people? Why do we care about people who don't have the capacity?
That's a very good question, actually. That's a very good question. I would think, like you said, connection is important, and, that is something we all crave, myself included. I crave it. So there is this sort of fear, like, what's that?
We're hardwired for
Right.
connection.
And to me...
And when
a meaningful connection would be. Like, the ideal for me, and maybe this is my psychological damage, or maybe I'm fucking so awesome, but I'm thinking to be completely open with your weaknesses and gross sides of your personality, which we all have. I mean, there's nobody here that, if you could see inside our minds, wouldn't disgust every person around us, honestly, at some point.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to get that, let that all out, and then still have somebody go, oh, yeah, it's okay. My favorite moment, actually, and one of the most romantic things I've ever seen, is a movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Have you all seen it?
Great. Yeah, I love it.
So, for those of you who haven't seen it, go check it out. They break up and they go through this medical thing where you can forget your ex and they erase the memories, and it's a cute film. But at the end, they've completely forgotten each other and they run into each other again. And there's this great scene where they have this audio cassette of the original time they went in to get this thing done, and they're hearing the other person complaining about them. Jim Carrey's in it, and he hears Kate Winslet talking about, oh, he gets all fucking needy and this and ragging, and then she hears his tape and he talks about she's a whore. And they hear this in the background while they're just getting to know each other for the first time in their own mind. And there's this great scene where they look at each other and they kind of go, they shrug their shoulders and they go, yeah, I don't care. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I want. Just that. I want someone to hear the tape of what a horrible human being I really am inside and go, fuck it, I'm on board. But I think the need for that can be kind of...
Not even the good or the bad of you, but you're seen. We all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We want to be...
Well, yeah.
We want to be witnessed, right?
Yes.
And so, but it's problematic when we stop caring what people think. When you hear people say, I don't care what people think. Well, I mean, that's a red flag. Because then you have no ability to connect with anyone. It's not a weakness to want people to like you, to want to feel connected with somebody. But when we define ourselves by what we think other people would like about us or how we think we should be, we're also losing our capacity to connect. So it's kind of a catch-22.
That's a good point.
The only way to do that is to be vulnerable. But it's hard as fuck. Oh, sorry.
No, you can swear.
It's very hard.
That's what she said.
So what? Coming back.
Okay, that's what she said.
The original point of this is, I think it's important because I hear it's Ned saying, I may be having some of these feelings. I'm having some of these freak out feelings to the best of my ability. Mm-hmm. And I hear Frank saying, this is my good friend. I know him very well. It's not about, I think, as much of projection. I mean, there's a part of that. I would be freaking out if I were having a kid. He should be feeling what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But it's this real concern of, I want this to be an authentic experience for Ned. I want him to know that it's okay to feel this, and I understand that.
Yes.
This is a way to feel even more connected with people by sort of exposing some of the panic or the freak out or the anxiety about it.
And then
that's right here coming from you. You're not saying you should feel this.
Yeah, but honestly, like sometimes I just say to myself, well, what good does it do? And by saying that out loud in my head, or when I say that to myself,
what good does what do?
What good does freaking out do? What good does
freaking out?
Freaking out is what Frank has been trying to get me to do.
What is that specifically?
Are you asking me? Oh, freaking out would be, it's me texting, and I think Ann had to leave.
Okay.
Just making sure she didn't get disconnected. I think she had to go. We miss you, Ann, if you left. Freaking out to me would be maybe 45 seconds of sheer pants-shitting terror, followed by 3 to 4 minutes of...
So literally pooping your pants. That's freaking out in your mind.
Yeah, whether he actually defecates, I don't think is important. But yeah, it should be that kind of terror. Like, thank you. When I got married, I remember the whole time people kept telling, all my married friends were like, dude, are you sure you want this is going to be the last woman you're with, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time I was like totally at peace. And me and my wife planned the wedding completely at peace. And I thought, man, these people that are freaking out about being married, they're not as, advanced as I am, which is what I always think, as we all know. So I'm going through it. We plan the wedding. The day of the wedding, we're putting on my tux. My friends are over. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, let's go do this. I was really excited. Not even a little bit of anxiety. I was thinking, God, don't trip. Or, hope I don't get a boner, stuff like that. But nothing bad. So we're lined up, right? The music starts playing, and they bring the groomsmen in. And the minister, whatever he is, the officiant, looks at me, and my buddies are behind me. It was Ned and my friend Vince and my little brother and my dad. And they're like, are you ready? And he looked at me to go walk out there. And it hit me. It hit me so hard that I almost took off and ran. Almost was like the runaway bride. Nothing against my wife. I loved my wife. I was happy to marry her. But it was this moment of, holy shit, this is happening. You can't act like this isn't happening. Shit, pants-shitting terror. So I turned around and I said, oh, fuck. I went white and I looked at my friend Vince. I said, I'm getting married. And I was
so
like...
what were you scared of?
What's that?
What was the terror? What were you scared of?
I think it was just the... I didn't have anything specifically I was scared of. It was just this moment that this is a real thing happening. My life is really going to change in the next few minutes. And it's not something you can casually go, oh, it's cool, it's going to be fun. It's like, holy shit, this is a new day. It's like, you know, you're graduating or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I turned to my friend and I'm like, I'm fucking getting married. And he sees me shaking and white like I'm going to run. And luckily he's a good enough friend that he calmed me down. He said, it's okay. He put his hand on my shoulder and I calmed down. We went through the wedding. Everything was fine. But the projection part for me and Ned is that I look at him going through this and I think, man, it would have been so much better had I had that flip out a month or two before my wedding. Not when I'm in the suit.
Why?
Not when my fucking dad is there, my goddamn best man, and I gotta walk, and I might run away and embarrass my wife and myself in front of 200 people.
Did you? No.
No, I
you
didn't.
experienced that wave of emotion then. Sometimes we can't control when it comes. Why do we have to grade
That's what she said.
when a better time than another time, right? You didn't shit your pants. You
No.
didn't run away. You surfed the wave of extreme terror, and you got through it.
But I'm much more...
For our emotions. We can't manage our emotions. We can't control when they're going to come or not.
That's what she said. But I'm much more advanced emotionally and intellectually than Ned. So if I'm having this kind of trouble, think about this poor soul. He's like, he's my...
You survived it. Who cares? So what if he has a few minutes of terror?
Can you do it?
In the hospital?
I think I was married too. I think I went through marriage also, right?
Yeah.
I think I went through the ceremony.
Did you panic?
I panicked.
Okay. Did you panic during the wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you want to not do that?
Well, sometimes when you experience something versus anticipating the unpleasantness of the event,
Thank you.
It's like, okay, I'm going to experience the unpleasantness anyways.
So you're like procrastinating. Like, I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it.
Well, no. Your body and mind reacted to the specific event when it actually took place versus anticipating the event.
It.
Dude, this is my fear, okay? And we're going to be honest with each other. My fear is that Ned's in the room with his wife, and she has the baby, and they pull the girl out, and everything, you know, knock on wood, everything's fine, the baby's fine and all that, but he just... Yeah, very nice. Now we know what a baby sounds like. Oh my god, that's fucking annoying. You're going to listen to that non-stop. That doesn't scare you? Non-fucking stop. Sorry. And he's going to...
It does scare him.
But hold on, in that moment, when his wife's looking at him and they're making this connection in this moment where they're sealing their fates to their lives and this huge responsibility and undertaking, I don't want his wife to look at him and see that moment and see him weak. And the real kind of weakness, not emotionally vulnerable, but shitting pants weak when she needs him most. To me, that's something... I know women's psychology a lot. That's something that can be very, very damaging to their union, and I don't want to see that happen. So I'd rather him do it when we go on a weekend shooting and it's just the bros. I'd rather him do it then. I don't want her to see him that way.
But it's not like it's a gas tank filled with fuel. You know, it's not like...
It smells like cat piss in here.
It's like freaking out, going, shooting guns with you in Palm Springs, freaking out, getting it out of my system, as you say, is not going to prevent me from freaking out while it happens.
I think it will. That's my theory. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Okay, whatever. That's what I think. So go fuck yourself.
And you think if his wife sees him feeling anxious,
I know
a moment of vulnerability that will...
It's a crack in the armor that you don't want to have at that moment. I'm speaking on a deep truth. Just being a good father and husband.
Well, is she doing drugs for her birth?
I don't know.
No,
good.
Actually, no.
She's one of them natural types.
Yeah,
I know, she's so stupid.
So she'll be in so much pain she's not going to remember any kind of expression.
Okay, I feel better.
On Ned's face anyway. But there are no moments in our life that are so profound that if we're not in the perfect emotional state,
I disagree.
It's going to be ruined forever.
What if you're married and you love your husband dearly? Let's say someone breaks in the house, right? You hear noises and you're like, honey, go check that out. And he gets up and he fucking's like, oh my God. And he starts getting scared and he grabs you and he throws you out in the room with the criminal and then takes off. Are you ever going to forgive him for that? Maybe that was too much. Okay, let me back that.
Good example.
Oh, what if he just is like, I'm scared, honey, I'm scared, and he hides under the bed?
It's a pussy.
You think Eli? You think Ned is going to hide under the bed when the?
I'm worried he's going to faint. Is what I'm worried about.
Jesus.
Yeah, because I would totally faint.
Oh, well, there's your answer.
Okay, I'm not
would.
saying you are. I just said I'm worried you are. I didn't say you were going to happen. But here's the thing: your wife, you hand her a baby, like this is your father, this is my husband, we're a partner, and he fucking falls over on his face at that moment. You're going to go, shit, did I do the right thing? Did I choose the right person for this? And then she's going to start to hate you fucking slowly, like women do. You don't understand women like
Let's
I
make
do.
a situation a lot worse than it really is.
Women wait for a moment to hate you.
That's
That's how they think.
I have to agree for a second because two things. First of all, evolutionarily, and in that moment,
Yes.
why do we pick mates to protect ourselves? And here's the other thing that I've learned.
I'm
that
telling
I
truth.
hate,
Yeah.
Is that Jake is right again.
Thank you.
Women. So
What does he write on? Like,
Everything.
Just what specifically?
How men and women, how shame manifests for men and women are very different.
Yes.
And shame is really at the seat of not wanting to feel vulnerable. That shame, that feeling of we're not enough, we're not good enough. No one will. If they really knew me, they wouldn't love me. It's so powerful. But that's what keeps us from not connecting to people. But it manifests very differently for men and women. For men, it is I'm weak.
Right.
And for women, it's usually I can't do everything. I can't be everything. I can't be Superwoman.
You must live in my house.
That's
That's what it sounds like every day in my house. Okay, go on.
But here's the kicker. Here's the thing that really sucks is that when men are vulnerable, it's not just a society, it's not just a messed up, dysfunctional family way of communicating that we're getting this message that weakness is bad. There is some sort of inherent evolutionary reflex to feel that because men had to protect us. So in many ways, Jake, you're right. When we finally have a man
It's true.
emotionally connecting with us and telling us our feelings and being vulnerable, oftentimes there's sort of this natural revulsion.
Yes.
Which is, I always rolled my eyes and thought that's not true until it happened. And I'm like, God damn it. Now the one thing I've been asking for, I'm not reinforcing.
Right.
I'm actually reinforcing the cover-up of it because it's true.
Of course it's true.
That sense. But if we are emotionally advanced
Right.
enough, we can recognize that and see that and move through that.
Yes, which is
and then you do feel more connected when you are vulnerable. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Sort of getting through that knee-jerk moment. And there are only a few knee-jerk moments like that. Yes, if somebody's attacking you and your protector is, defecating in the background.
Yeah, you're not. It's going to change
things. It's a deal
things.
changer, but that's not similar to having a look of, oh my gosh, I'm anxious. This is an overwhelming moment emotionally when your child comes. And you know what? Ned, your wife's going to be feeling overwhelming emotions. Nobody's judging other people's emotions at that point because it is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be fine in that respect.
Okay.
But
Don't shit your
think
pants.
You're coming from a good place.
Of course.
In general, I think
Yeah.
Ned should feel more authentically connected
No, I appreciate his
through
concern.
emotional expression.
Yeah.
Here's what you're going to do. There's only a few minutes left on the show. I'd like you to freak out right now.
Oh my god, I'm having
No,
a
but-
kid!
but real-
Holy shit, I might as well just take a fucking gun and blow my fucking brains out! Fuck me! Ah!
I didn't find that very sincere.
Oh.
But that was close. That was a good try.
Was that close?
Yeah. I just need you to...
Oh my god, this baby's gonna be retarded! It's gonna run around, it's gonna say, Timmy, Timmy, Timmy! Oh, he's gonna go to the padded walls, he's gonna be medicated! Holy shit, she's gonna have boyfriends left and right that are gonna try to have sex with her,
This is
and she's
better.
probably gonna be raped and domestic violence, and she's gonna have a kid too? Oh my god!
Let it out. This is good. Keep going.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay.
She is going to be retarded, though. She is half yours. So you get over that one right now. Oh my god, my dog's barking. You're scaring the dogs.
Sorry, I won't yell.
That was better. I feel better. I still did not find it sincere, but I did find it better because you did.
It's hilarious.
You did let a few things slip that I can tell you are concerned about. So now I have the ammunition to get in your mind a little bit more.
Oh my god, in her teenage years, she's gonna be super emotional. I'm not gonna know how to handle her.
See?
Oh my god, we're gonna have family therapy again. It's gonna be a fucking roller coaster ride again.
Very good.
Here we go.
This
There
is
we
good,
go.
right?
Yeah,
it's working.
It's not bad. It's
Keep
actually,
going.
it feels really good.
It does feel good. Keep going.
Yeah.
Thank you. One more.
I think I got everything out of my
Really
system.
funny.
One more. She's gonna. What are you worried about her being a whore?
I already mentioned that.
You said boyfriend. You didn't say
She's gonna have a lot of boyfriends, and they're gonna want to have sex with her. Right?
No, you've got to be worried she's going to be like a stripper or a prostitute or a whore.
Oh my god, I gotta keep her off the pole! I gotta keep her off the pole! She's gonna want to go be a stripper because she's just gonna be a lazy student in college and she doesn't want to like put in her time to get her degree, and she's gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna make so much money if I just fucking become a stripper. It's just so easy just showing my tits and ass to a bunch of perverts that are probably gonna be daddy's friends.
All right, I feel better.
If they ever make it out of there.
Oh, that was cathartic.
I guess that worked.
You feel better, yeah?
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
See?
I'm totally cured, Jake.
Thank you.
Frank.
You're welcome. That's all I wanted.
That totally helped.
It is going to be your friends that are the creeps. I promise I won't oogle at your daughter. I promise. But we should probably make sure she's a little... I'm sorry, what?
That would require getting out of the piss oven of a room that I suspect you're spending a lot of time in.
Yeah, that's true. That creepy guy smells like cat piss. But if she does have hot friends and she has pool parties at like 15 or 16, I do want to come over.
Will you show up with like a half unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt when you do?
Probably.
Sweet.
And like I'm going to grow a cool... I'm going to get like one of those mullets, but where you're bald on the top.
Nice.
I'm going to look like David Crosby, basically. And I'm just going to hang there and be like, what's up, girls? You ever had an alcoholic beverage?
You need me to buy you some?
Your boyfriends can't drive, right? I have 3 cars.
One's a van with curtains.
Yeah. Anyone, anywhere you want to go, girls, just tell me. I got keys, and I got a wallet. We can stop by the liquor store.
See this license plate?
This is the
It's a
greatest
stud muffin.
counseling session ever.
You did great again, Katie. You always make the room feel better.
Oh, you too. You two did all the work.
Yeah, well, you're the best. I want to say...
Very hopeful for your relationship.
It was. Me and Ned are probably going to stay married for another few years. So that's good. All right, well, I love you, Katie. I'm going to let you go.
I love you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Katie.
Pleasure. Oh, can we 3 of us just talk for 30 seconds about Tim Tebow and how much better his motion is?
He's going to make the team.
Have you seen
Yeah.
his throwing motion, Katie?
No.
Oh,
He doesn't even wind up.
I keep trying to bring it up to you because you're like, you don't respond. And I'm like, I don't understand. She's a Tebow fan. The guy has Tim House or Tom House, whatever. He's been at USC the last 2 years perfecting his throw, and there's videotape of him. He throws completely different now. Like muscle memory. He throws better.
And also the linebacker for the Eagles mentioned on a radio show that he's going to make the team and he's going to play a lot of minutes.
What do you think about that, Katie?
Because it's Chip Kelly. I actually agree with that, but I do think it's hard to erase 20-some years of muscle memory versus 2.
That's true.
I think that they're very strong laid neural connections that have been made, so I continue
No
to
matter
be a
how many
little bit-
repetitions.
No, it's true.
Are made.
Correct.
It's,
Okay.
But if anyone
Correct.
can overcome it, it's Timothy.
Anyone can. It is.
Tebow.
And you know I would be as happy as you all. But, he's like, I feel like an abused spouse with him. I stick up for him, and I know it's not his fault.
Right.
It's everybody else's fault, but I feel like I'm always let down.
Yeah. Well,
And I go running back to defend him, and then,
But he has perseverance.
you don't know Timothy like I do. I kind of feel that way, too.
His perseverance is intoxicating.
I'm very uncomfortable with blindly supporting him again. I will defend him.
You're scared of being vulnerable.
You're scared now.
I'm
exactly.
scared of being vulnerable.
It's time to be
Don't be
vulnerable for
afraid.
Timothy Tebow because he is going to make the Eagles.
Vulnerability
He will
is strength.
hurt me. He will hurt me.
He's going to have a breakout year, and he's not going to start for the Eagles. But by the end of this year,
He'll start.
He will start for another team next year. I'm going to go out on a limb and be vulnerable and say that. All right, nobody cares when we talk sports. All right, Katie, I love you.
No,
Thank you.
no. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Ned, I'm very proud of you.
Thanks.
I just want to say honestly, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm not even trying to be funny.
I appreciate it.
You feel a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean,
I know you were joking, but honestly, let's have a real moment here.
I feel fine. It's just this is stuff I talk about in therapy. So
Yeah, but it's different when it's privacy of your own couch with someone you're paying to keep it
Right.
private than going on the air to 9 or 10 people that listen.
yeah,
and airing it.
It's just when you have bad habits, you don't realize.
Let me
what
just
it
tell
does
you.
to
Let me
you.
just wrap this up. Katie didn't say this because she got lost in thoughts or whatever. But what she was trying to say, I'll speak for her, is that you're very lucky to have me as a friend.
No, I
and
am.
everything I do is to make you a better person.
I appreciate
and
it.
This show in particular, you opening up on the show, is part of your therapy that I've outlined for you for years. It's kind of an exposure. And I've been actively working as your clandestine therapist for years. I don't know if you know this, but under my guidance, you've come very far, and I'm very impressed with my project and work. I'm very proud to show you off.
So it's a patient-doctor relationship, our friendship?
It is, yeah.
Oh, good.
And
glad I could provide you with
but
that.
I can pretend to be your friend because I know that's important to you.
Yeah.
So I want to say you're doing really well under my tutelage, and talking on this show is very good for you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And obviously, I treasure our friendship. But I want to mention one thing before we leave is that you have to listen to your I'm not going to that person we talked about before the show. She was on a podcast. You should listen to it.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if I can mention her name or whatever.
No, we probably should. My sister was on the Mental Pod podcast. Yeah. That's a really great podcast.
Talk about vulnerability.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it.
I tweeted her. She was amazing.
Good.
She really, really opened up. And
I've
as
also
your
helped her.
friend,
Yeah, I've taught her
it
a
got
lot.
me more in tune with what you I became more empathetic for what you went through. And she did mention on the podcast, she mentioned you in that she said that you were the smart one because throughout all that drama, you kept your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because you knew in advance at a very young age that if you were to emote, it would make the situation a lot worse.
That is very, very true. We do what we do to survive.
Exactly.
But, I think it's important, and this is the message for everyone listening, if anyone is still listening, if they didn't get bored and turn out when we got all gobbledygook and psychological. But, when you're in your mid-30s and you got your own life and your own marriage and your own work and baby on the way, you don't have to survive in that old state any longer. You have a whole new world out there.
Free.
And that's the hard thing. I think that would be a good thing to talk about sometime.
That's a good thing to talk about,
actually, a good topic for a show is like that.
How to break free from the horrible habits that you were raised with. Right?
Yeah, I mean, a better analogy, another one from Vince that I always got was that, I see you flipping me off, it's, a guy lives in Minnesota, right? And he's got a big stick, and he's fighting off timber wolves all the time growing up, right? And he beats him off with a stick, and he's like, man, I've never been eaten by
Beats him off with a stick or beats him up?
Beats him up with a stick.
Okay.
Well, beats him off him from eating him. But I got where you go, beats off. That's what she said. And the guy moves to Hawaii, right? And he still has the stick. And you say to him, hey, you don't need that anymore. There's no timber wolves here. And his response is, see how good it works? And if you look at that objectively, it's a very good story because it's true. It's like, dude, you're not in Minnesota. You don't have to worry about timber wolves here in Hawaii. You don't need that stick. Well, unless you need it from a wild boar, which is a whole other problem. But the point is, don't keep fighting the demons when they're not there anymore. And that's we'll do a show on that. I think that'd be good.
That's a very good one.
Sometimes it's good to get psychological.
We'll need Anne for that one because she's be a great example.
She needs a lot of help, that one. She's a fucking mess, dude.
I know.
She hung up when we started getting all...
She hung up because she had to go.
Don't tell people that.
Why?
Because I want to build up this thing like she's troubled.
Just tell the truth.
All right. Yeah, she had to go. Her baby was crying.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we love you, everybody. I hope the dentist that shot Cecil the Lion gets murdered. That's all I want to say. I wasn't going to get in the news too much.
First
but that guy should be killed. We'll talk about it next week. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Anne and Frank. It's the Anne and Frank. Anne and Frank show. Frank should be first. Anne and Frank. It really should be Frank and Anne. But Anne and Frank's funnier. Why are we underground exactly? Well, let me explain it to you as quickest and best way I can. We did a real show for 3 years. It was immensely popular, as long as you didn't look at our numbers. And we told the truth week in and week out. And that pissed off a lot of people, because if you want to piss off people, you know what you do? You tell the truth, and that's what we did. But we were forced into hiding, because we were threatened to lose our jobs. We were threatened with CPS. We were even shown our home addresses by these fat sons of bitches that didn't like the fact that we told the truth, and they wanted to kill us. So we're in hiding now. As Anne and Frank, that's not our real names. You'll never know our real names. We can never tell you our real names because we don't want to die. So join us every Saturday as we sit here and tell you the truth. We don't read headlines and go, oh, this happened. This fits my stupid agenda. We fucking research it. Who does that anymore? Nobody. And that's why we piss people off, because we tell the goddamn truth and we're going to do it again and again. It's the Anne and Frank show, and it should be Frank and Anne, because I'm really Frank and the host. And Anne rarely ever talks because I don't like other people to overshine me, because I'm a narcissist. Anne and Frank show.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.